hope and pray that every one of us has a wonderful journey at the Keshava Gaudiya Mandir and have a wonderful experience. Those spiritual warriors who made our journey successful today was Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, Yamuna Sundari Mataji, Ivy Gautam, Shubhra Devi Dasi, Ravi Pipilya Prabhu, Vrajeshwari Priya Devi Dasi, Govinda Gita Devi Dasi, Kasturi Manjari Mataji, Sistastika Devi Dasi, Parmeshwari Devi Dasi, Amol and Smita Panchpande, Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, Girivardhari Prabhu, Shriya Devi Dasi, Sitala Priya Devi Dasi, Sachinandan Krishna Prabhu, Srinivas Acharya Prabhu, Hanuman Prabhu, Prathamesh Prabhu, Nadia Kumar Prabhu, Saman Prabhu, Leela Manjari Devi Dasi, Raga Bhakti Mataji, Sugandharaj Prabhu, Aradhana Devi Dasi, Janki Khan Prabhu, Lavanga Latika Mataji, Tapti Ghosh Mataji, Manmatha Anand Prabhu, Sundari Radha Mataji, Parmanand Hari Prabhu, Nandan Priya Mataji, Pandurang Devdas Prabhu, Damodarati Mataji, Shrika and Pankaj Gupta, Rohit Mishra Prabhu, Pranath Gopal Prabhu, Radhika Prem Devi Dasi, Saraswati Devi Dasi, Sumitra Radha Devi Dasi, Devendra Krishna Prabhu. I didn't see Saloni, Divyansan Saloni today, Haribol. Vraj Vinod Prabhu, Anand Vinodini Devi Dasi, Priyanka Mataji, Rukmini Priya Devi Dasi, Namanand Prabhu, Prem Vinodini Mataji, Madhvi Gopi Mataji. Today I didn't see Ganga Mataji either. Haribol. Uttam Bhakta Prabhu, Vallabhi Mataji, Rajendra Prabhu. I don't think I see Abhay Prabhu today. Vijay Keshav Prabhu, Amal Atman Prabhu, Gadadhar Chandra Prabhu, Tulsi Priya Devi Dasi, Jai Govinda Prabhu, Bhadra Bharti Mataji, Sarva Tarak Prabhu, Amal Nam Prabhu, Govinda Mohini Devi Dasi, Krita Lakshman Prabhu, Matangi Gopi Devi Dasi, Manuj Kapoor Prabhu, Kamal Priya Mataji, Karunamai Mataji, I didn't see. Maybe she may have joined. Radha Charan Prabhu, Abhay Charan Prabhu, Shukrati Devi Dasi, Sundari Leela Mataji, Sarmishta Sahi, Mamta Mataji, Syam Sundar Prabhu, Hari Katha, Rashikita Prabhu, Anand Radhika Mataji, Rajesh and Sweta, Chintamani Devi Dasi, Amit Prabhu and Prem Priya Mandati, Suchitra Devi Dasi. I didn't see C. Kumar Prabhu. Kanta Devi Dasi, Rasmi Mataji, Shrikant, Shurvase Prabhu, Nishan Sharma Prabhu, Nitya Navali Devi Dasi, Neeraj Srivastav Prabhu, Prafulanand Madhav Prabhu, Sri Prada Lalita Devi Dasi. I didn't see Vani Prabhu, Haribol. Lekha Mataji, Thaneswar Prabhu, Shudevi Sundari Mataji, Radhika Bhakti Mataji, Madan Kandu Prabhu didn't join today. Maybe he may have been busy. Rupsi Mataji, Sri Padma Manjari Mataji, Sarvasakti Devi Dasi, Ram Krishna and Lata Mataji, Abhay Mohan Prabhu. I think those are the devotees who joined, and Raja Ram Das Prabhu also. If I have missed anybody and any name, please forgive me. Hare Krishna. Please hear the wonderful song before we will read from the Jai Dharma. Hare Go.
Amar Jiva Sada Pape Rata Nahi ko Punya Jalesha আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত, নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ। পরের উদ্বেগ দিয়াছি যে কত, পরের উদ্বেগ দিয়াছি যে কত, দিয়াছি জীবের ক্লেশ। আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত, নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ। আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত, নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ। निज सुख लागी पाप नाही डोरी, दयाहीन स्वार्थ परो। निज सुख लागी पापे नाही डोरी, दयाहीन स्वार्थ परो। पर सुखे दुखी सदा मिथ्या भाषी, पर सुखे दुखी सदा मिथ्या भाषी। पर दुख सुख करो, আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত, নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ। আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত, নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ। शेष कामना हृदि माझे मोर, क्रोधी दंभ परायण। अशेष कामना हृदि माझे मोर, क्रोधी दंभ परायण। मदमत्त सदा विषय मोहित, मदमत्त सदा विषय मोहित। हिंसा गर्व विभूषण, আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত, নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ। আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত, নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ। निद्रालस्य हत सुकार्य विरत, अकार्ये उद्योगी आमि। निद्रालस्य हत सुकार्य विरत, अकार्ये उद्योगी आमि। प्रतिष्ठा लागिया साध्य आचरण, प्रतिष्ठा लागिया साध्य आचरण। लोभहत सदा कामी আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ नो दुर्जन सज्जन वर्जित अपराधी निरंतर नो दुर्जन सज्जन वर्जित अपराधी निरंतर शुभ कार्य शून्य सदा नर्थ मना शुभ कार्य शून्य सदा नर्थ मना नाना दुखे जरा जरा আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ वार्धक्ये कोन उपाय विहीन ताते दीना अकिंचन वार्धक्ये कोन उपाय विहीन ताते दीना अकिंचन भक्ति विनोद प्रभुर चरणे भक्ति विनोद प्रभुर चरणे कोरे दुख निवेदना আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ আমার জীবন সদা পাপে রত নাহি কো পুণ্যের লেশ
Thank you very much, Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, for playing a wonderful song. So we will continue reading the Jaiva Dharma book. We would like to offer our humble obeisances at the desk of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our great Acharya, who has given us a wonderful book to relish and to implement in our life. So we will read the one paragraph that we read yesterday, and then we will continue. Why are there conflicting views on this point? Furthermore, if Pratyaksha and Anuman are not acknowledged as principal pramans, how is knowledge to be communicated and perceived? Kindly make me understand this point. So that's why the question. Raghunath Das Babaji. Pratyaksha, Anuman, etc. are sentiment pramans, entirely dependent upon sense perception. However, the sense of the jiva are imperfect because of the four innate shortcomings: Brahma, the tendency to be illusion, pramad, the tendency to make mistakes because of illusion and inattention, vipralipsa, the tendency to cheat, and karanapatva, the limitations of inadequate and imperfect senses. Consequently, how can knowledge or information communicated through these imperfect senses be accurate and authentic? However, the great spiritual preceptors and wise sages have received absolutely perfect knowledge in the form of the Vedas. This Vedic knowledge is revealed to them by the omnipotent and fully independent Supreme Godhead, who personally appears in their hearts, deeply absorbs in meditations. In this way, this flawless knowledge is accepted from the Lord without the disturbances caused by the limitations of the material senses. Vrajanath. People explain in detail the four human failing you have just mentioned. Raghunath Das Babaji. The inadequate sense organs of the jiva sometimes have fallacious, illusory perceptions upon coming into the contact with the matter. And these misconceptions are known as Brahm. For example, the eye mistakes a mirage in a desert for water. Further, the mundane intelligence of the jiva is limited by nature. Therefore, he draws mistaken, erroneous conclusions if he attempts to probe the unlimited potency of the Supreme Lord. For example, in the matter of the Lord's supreme dominion, the jiva inquires with an intelligence restricted by the mundane concept of time and space, and therefore draw mistaken conclusions. These mistakes of inadvertent tongues are called pramad. Doubts, suspicion, reluctance to believe, and cheating constitute vipralipsa. Finally, the physical senses are incompetent and imperfect, and wrong decisions are often made because of the erroneous and limited information received from them in certain circumstances. This called Karana Patava. Vrajanath. Does this mean that Pratyaksa and the other related pramanas, such as Anuman, have no relevance? Raghunath Das Babaji. Is the cultivation of material, empirical knowledge available with any means other than Pratyaksa, etc.? In understanding the spiritual world, however, Pratyaksa is important. The Vedas are the only evidence that is qualified for transcendental topics. If knowledge acquired through the evidences of Pratyaksa, Anuman, etc., correspond with the perfect teaching of the Vedas, then of course we are duty bound to accept such evidences. Consequently, the self-perfected Vedas, supported by the subordinate Pratyaksa evidence, are the only true evidence. Vrajanath. Are scriptures such as Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and so on not true evidences? Raghunath Das Babaji. The Bhagavad Gita was directly spoken by the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, it is as good as the Vedas, and thus been named the Gita-Upanishad. Similarly, the doctrines of the Dasmula were spoken by the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya. So they also are as good as the Vedas. The essence of the vast Vedas is summarized and compiled in the Srimad Bhagavatam, making this book the epitome of all evidences. As far as the teaching of the other Smriti scriptures are in pursuance of the Vedic tenets, they are also Pramana. The Tantra scripture are of three categories: Sattvika in goodness, Rajasika in passion, and Tamsika in ignorance. The Pancharatra treatises are Sattvika. The Sanskrit root Dhan means to diffuse. And since the Sattvika Tantra diffused the secret Vedic truths, they are also accepted as Pramana. Vrajanath. The Vedas comprise innumerable texts, which are bona fide and which are not. Kindly tell me. Raghunath Das Babaji. In the course of time, many unscrupulous men have interpolated chapters, mandalas, sections, and mantras into the Vedas for self-interested reasons. A Vedic text may be discovered somewhere, but that does not mean that all parts of the book are authentic. Texts that have been authenticated through the ages by the acharyas of the bona fide sampradayas are the Vedas. Sections or even entire books rejected by the authorities are unacceptable to us. Vrajanath. Which Vedic literature have been accepted by the acharyas? Raghunath Das Babaji. There are 11 Upanishads which are Sattvika. The Isa, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Taititriya, Aitariya, Chandadogya, Bruhat, Aranyaka, and Swetswatara. A few Tapnis, extremely helpful with deity worship and so on, are also included. They are the Gopal Tapni Upanishad, Narsimha Tapni Upanishad, etc. Corollary literature of the Rag, Sam, Yajur, and Atharva Vedas are also bona fide. They are dissertations on the Vedas, known as the Brahmanas, Mandalas, etc. All the scriptures have been authorized by the previous acharyas and are thus accepted as pramans, having been authenticated by the liberated souls. Vrajanath. What is the proof that logic and rhetoric have no jurisdictions in the realm of spirituality? Raghunath Das Babaji. Listen to some quote from the scripture. In the Katha Upanishad 1 to 9, we find, O Nachiketa, now you have attained the transcendental consciousness of self-knowledge. Do not squander it through the dark logic of dry empirical debates. Here is an outstanding quote from the Vedas, giving further proof. Brahma Sutra 2.1.11. Tarakya Pratista Mat. Contentious rhetoric and empirical knowledge are unable to extract the correct conclusions from the scriptures. The conclusion established through logic and argument by one scholar today are certainly refuted and dismembered the next day. Hence, logic and rhetoric have been disqualified. That example was from the Vedanta Sutra. There is a further in the Mahabharata Bhishma Parva 522. Achintyaha kalo ye bhava na tam tarkena yojayet. Praktibhyaha param yaccha tad achintyasya lakshana. That which is beyond material nature and thereby outside the parameter of sense perception is the inconceivable absolute truth. Therefore, why attempt the impossible and endeavor to approach it through empirical arguments? This verse points out the short and limited reach of logic. The Grand Master of the science of bhakti, Srila Rupa Goswami, a stalwart in scriptural arbitrations, write in his monumental devotional work, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Purva 1.45. Swabhapi ruchir evasya bhakti tattva bodhotika yaktistu kevala naiva yad asya apritastata. We learn from the Sabda Praman of the Srimad Bhagavatam and other corollary texts that ruchi, taste, and attraction for the Supreme Lord is born out of many lifetimes of pure and past deeds. Even a minute amount of such ruchi produces the subtle sense of percipience for the transcendental science of bhakti. Yet, by merely employing dry speculative intellect, the philosophy of bhakti remains incomprehensible because within bhakti, logic has no locus standi. Truth cannot be ascertained irrefutably by mundane logic. An ancient proverb lends the support to this view. Quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Purva 146, Yatyena padito api artha kushaler anu marthabihi abhiyuktata tarair anyarthano vipo papadyarati. An expert logician and rhetorician cleverly formulates a theory through argument and logic. Nevertheless, soon a more proficient logician demolishes it easily. This may happen to you. Therefore, logic and mundane rational are untrustworthy. Vrajanath, respected Babaji Maharaj, I have now properly understood that the Vedas are the self-perfected Praman, whose philosophical authority is contested by the logicians to no avail. Kindly tell me the second slok of the Dasamula doctrines. Raghunath Das Babaji, hear the Dasamula second verse. Haristu ekam tattvam vidhi shiva suresa pranamito yad evadam brahma prakuti rahitam tattanu mahaha paratma tasyanso jagat anugato visvajanaka savai radha kanto navajaladha kantis chit udayaha. The Supreme Lord, Sri Hari, who is worshipped by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, and other great personality, is alone one absolute truth. The Brahman is impotent and impersonal. The bodily effulgence of Sri Hari Paramatma, the super soul, the universal controller, who is omnipresent throughout the material creation, is merely the partial expansion of Sri Hari. This Supreme Personality Sri Hari is our dearest Lord, the most beloved of Srimati Radhika, the embodiment of spiritual ecstasy with a complexion that flows the beauty of phrase monsoon clouds. Rajana. The Upanishads have declared that Brahman is transcendental to this material nature and is the highest absolute truth. Therefore, kindly explain to me what arguments Sri Gaurahari Chaitanya has put forward to establish that Brahman is bodily lustre of Sri Hari. Raghunath Das Babaji. Sri Hari is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The following statements from the Vishnu Puran 6.547 enumerates the qualification of his divinity. Aishwaryasya samagrasya virasyasya yasasahasriya jnana vairagyas chaiva sannam bhaga itingana. One who possesses all these six divine and inconceivable excellences known as bhaga to the utmost degree, namely opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus known as Bhagavan. These six qualities are inseparably connected, like the body and its limb. However, which of them is the body and which of them are the limbs? Body means that which is the resting place of the limbs. For example, the tree trunks is the body and the branches, twig and leaves are the limbs of the tree. Similarly, the human torso is the body and the arms and legs are the limbs of the body. Of the Lord's qualities, unlimited beauty is the very nature of the transcendental form of the Lord, and is thus the principal quality forming the body of which all other qualities are the extended limbs. In this way, opulence, power, fame become the three main limbs of the Lord's beauty. And from this quantity of fame and subordinate and related qualities of knowledge and renunciation radiate as Lord's effulgence. Therefore, Brahman is the brilliance of the entire creation and of the Supreme Lord's transcendental form. Perception of this radiant Nirvakar Brahman, which is the supreme without activity and transformation, bestows Brahmagyan, spiritual knowledge, and thereby Vairagya, material renunciation, because the Nirvikar Brahman is the effulgence of the unlimitedly beautiful body and transcendental abode of the Lord. Thus, this Nirvikar Brahman, being immutable, inactive, incorporeal, and impersonal, is in itself not the perfect absolute source, but the subordinate attribute of the Supreme Lord. The light of the fire is not the self-accomplished and dynamic principal source, but it's only dependent upon the fire for its existence. Rajanath, on numerous occasions, descriptions of the impersonal Brahman in the Vedas are often followed by the words Om Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om. This sentence declares that Hari is the supreme divine principle. The question then arises, what is the personality Hari to whom this sloka refers? Raghunath Das Babaji. Hari referred to the transcendental couple, Sri Radha and Sri Krishna, who are eternally engaged in their amorous pastimes. Brajanath. Later, I would like to dwell more deeply into that topic. However, for now, kindly tell me how Paramatma, the universal progenitor, is a partial expansion of the Supreme Godhead. Raghunath Das Babaji. The Supreme Lord conducts the work of creation of this material cosmos through the agency of two of his potencies, opulence and power. He then enters his creation in the form of his partial expansion, Sri Vishnu, and notwithstanding remains the complete whole in all respects, as it's substantiated in the Bruhat Aranakya Upanishad 5.1. So we will read tomorrow. Nice place to stop. Thank you very much again for joining this morning. May Krishna bless us all and spend the whole day chanting, reading, listening, or whatever activity pleases our mind and heart. So with those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. Because when we take shelter of Krishna, we should rest assured Krishna will protect us. With those thoughts, whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become successful and totally fearless. I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful devotees who take austerity to join every morning, despite their busy schedule from Houston, from India, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Alachua, Austin, College Station, Tempe, Phoenix, San Jose, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, New Orleans, Baltimore, and Portland, Oregon. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhaveva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaisnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you very much.
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय,
Hari
श्री
Bol, Hari
प्रभुपाद
Bol,
की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, श्री श्याम
Hari
सुंदर
Bol,
प्रभु की जय,
Hari
हरि बोल
Bol.
प्रभु।
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Thank you very much, Dhaneshwar Prabhu. Hari Bol. Nice that you joined today, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone. Hari Bol, Kantama.